Hey guys, how's it going? So musicians, guitarists, or any other instrumentalist should always strive to improve and learn new tricks. And my latest thing that I've always been neglecting, I feel, in the past has been sweep picking. I consider myself a very good musician, so I can hear what I can do better. And that's another thing why I record these videos, is that I record myself, take a break, watch it the next day, 2 days later, a week later, and like, holy hell, I can be doing this so much better. You can analyze what your shortcomings are. So, starting 2 days ago, I decided to remember sweep picking. And in this little lesson, I will show several techniques, several patterns. So what is sweep picking? It's basically playing a very fast arpeggio that, if you play it cleanly, gives you this kind of rapid motion from the low note to the high note. And what I notice in terms of soloing when it comes to guitar playing, or even saxophone playing or trumpet playing, a lot of jazz patterns or rock patterns, they kind of descend. And it makes sense because it's, in many instruments, it's a lot easier to play downwards as opposed to upwards. Even on the guitar, you have your strings, and it's a lot easier to go down because you don't have to like hop the strings with your pick. It just kind of glides down. So like something like, you know, it's a lot easier to play this kind of a lick downwards as opposed to upwards. And with trumpet playing or saxophone playing, you don't have to play that high note. You have to exert more force, and then playing down, it's easier. So when you're playing all those fast runs, you don't have to exert yourself as much. It becomes easier the lower you play. Obviously, on some instruments like the trumpet, in the extremely low range, it's not as easy to play. But anyway, the downward motion is what most shredders even kind of have. Now, what happens when you get stuck in the slower register? You need to get back to the upper register to be able to play those riffs again. And how do you get to the higher register? And this is where the sweep picking kind of comes in handy. So you're like on the lower string, and then you just do a sweep pick, and you're up on the high string, and you can continue your noodling. So several patterns that I discovered. Let's stick to the 12th fret. It's your minor arpeggio, so it would be your A minor. Sounds like this. And how you sweep pick is you kind of, the goal should be to have one string played at a time. So you don't want a big mess. You don't want to play a chord. You want to separate the notes, and you have to mute with your left hand and with your right hand so that only one note rings out. So this pattern, what you do is you start on the 12th fret on the A string, tap, hammer on the C, then you take your third finger, E, A, then your second finger on the C, then first finger on the E, and then you can stretch out to play that A. Okay? So that's one of the arpeggios. You can play A minor arpeggio. So notice I'm using my thumb to kind of mute the strings. And that's what you need to practice, this kind of motion. Slowly, then speed it up. Alright, so that's one of them. Then the other arpeggio you can play is the C major arpeggio. So you start on the 12th, 13th, 14th, on the 15th fret. So C with your little finger, E with your ring finger, then G with your first finger, then C with your middle finger, then E with your first finger, and then G with your fourth finger. So it sounds like this. And you also need to time it so that the pick does not move to the next string until you're done playing a hammer-on, if it's applicable. See? So a good exercise is to play the two arpeggios back to back, going up the neck or down the neck. So. And the motion has to be consistent, not that has to be one smooth motion. And you can clearly see that I'm struggling with this a little bit because I just started practicing this again a few days ago. But that's the exercise. And what's cool about this is that you're playing the major arpeggio and then the relative minor arpeggio. So if you guys know music theory, C major, for example, has no sharps and no flats. And so does the A minor scale, has no sharps and no flats. So they are essentially, that's another kind of small theory lesson there. The A minor is a mode of the C major. So it's the same exact notes, but they start on a different note of the scale. Same exact notes, same lack of sharps and flats. So these are the two kind of sweep picking patterns. Then there's one more, which is maybe even easier. On the same 12th fret, E minor arpeggio would be like this. So starting on the 12th fret, E, then G on the same E string, then E, then, E, G, B, E, and then G, B, E. play an E major arpeggio in this shape would be something like this. You have to do some shifting, starting with the middle finger, E, G sharp, then you hammer on the B, then E, G sharp, B, E. So that's something you can practice, these 4 different sweep picking arpeggios. So let me try it without messing it up on the 12th fret again. It's actually harder to play it slowly once you kind of get used to this, but it's very important to practice it slow. So there you go, something new to try, and good luck, and clearly I still need some work. Thanks.